Why pricing just 5% higher can cost you £20,000. I'm going to explain why this error can cost you thousands and how to avoid it. So you're thinking about selling and you've probably had some property valuations or done some research of your own and have an idea of that target value. Now it's time to decide that listing price. And I'm going to tell you why building in that negotiation or wiggle room might not be the best idea. Pricing that little bit higher still assumes that you're going to get the interest and receive offers to negotiate. Well, in the current market, that isn't necessarily the case. So today's market is extremely competitive. Buyers have access to hundreds of listings across a number of websites and additional data like previously sold prices, pound per square foot. It makes it really hard for any property to stand out. So if your property's off by even just a little bit, it's likely that they won't book that viewing and they'll just keep scrolling on to the next property. What happens then is you're left on the market for a number of weeks and probably looking at needing to make a price reduction. The problem then is that you're in an even weaker position to negotiate for any offer that you do receive. Let's just take a look at a couple of examples that do things a little bit differently to achieve a different outcome. So for these examples, we're going to use the average property price of £440,000. In scenario A, we're going to assume that we've listed the property for 5% higher than our target value, so just 5% higher, which makes it a listing of £462,000. Now, it might not be exactly £462,000, it might be 460, 465, more of a round number, but for the sake of this, £462,000. Now, in this scenario, we receive very limited interest in those crucial sort of 4 to 7 weeks that you're on initially on the market. So what happens, we have to reduce the price back down to our target value of £440,000. Now the reason you'd reduce that amount is that realistically you need to reduce by at least 5% to make any sort of difference in headway in the market. Otherwise, reducing by any less than that doesn't really make much of a difference. So reducing to £440,000. The problem is then you are that property that has been on the market for some time and you're on showing as a reduced property, which assumes that buyers think there's more flexibility in the price and you are in a far weaker position to negotiate. So therefore you accept or likely to accept an offer lower than your £440,000. So maybe something like 425, 430, maybe 435. Either way, you are achieving less than your original target of £440,000. If then we take scenario B with the same value property, but we actually list at £440,000, we're going to receive strong interest in those initial and very crucial weeks, having multiple viewings, potentially multiple offers as well, resulting in competitive offers of at least generally asking price. When you do get into a position where you're receiving multiple offers, generally you're looking at asking price. Most of the time you'll be going over that value. So potentially from a £440,000 listing, we go up by £10,000 and agree an offer of £450,000. £10,000 over asking price because we're in a good, strong position, because all the viewers know that there's been multiple viewings, we're getting multiple offers, and we can potentially go to best and final bids. Now, this is not a fantasy. This definitely does happen, and I have multiple cases of this happening for my clients, and it is certainly a fairly common thing. This is not a unicorn dream scenario. It definitely does happen. The seller in this case has achieved over their asking price, probably more than they originally thought, and now they're actually in the market, sold and able to go out and offer on the property that they want to buy. So there we have two potential different outcomes, but it's the same property, just two different strategies. You need to make sure that you discuss this properly with your agent and the strategy that you take suits you and your property moving motivations. If we can help any further, please by all means get in contact. I'd love to help and discuss.